Hello, everybody. I'm Richard Leake. Along with Army Armstrong, we are in the Omni, Atlanta, Georgia, for tonight's Redman TNT All-American Pulling Series event. The super modified two-wheel drive vehicles and Army, these are a tough bunch of hombres.
I'll tell you, a tough bunch of hombres, but these guys will put on a super show. It's the wheels-up class. All the horsepower goes to the rear tires. Who's going to hit the weight right tonight? I believe is going to be your winner, Richard.
Well, I'll tell you, one of the guys to keep your eye out for that may hit that weight right is the current defending 1988 Summer Points champion, Mike Stowe. Mike, first of all, congratulations on the points championship this summer. That means a lot to you, doesn't it?
Thank you, Richard. Yes, it does. We've probably been pulling for about 12 years, and so far in pulling, that's probably been my greatest accomplishment to win a national championship.
Well, Mike is right here from the state of Georgia. We are going to be pulling tonight on that famous Georgia red clay. I guess that might be a little bit of an advantage for you, and also, what are you guys looking for in this red clay?
Well, Richard, it will be an advantage, and when you see us come out on the track with a screwdriver or any sharp instrument, we'll probe around on the track and look for hard spots and soft spots. We'll do it about every 10 feet, and therefore we'll pick out the line that we want to run during the class, and unless something drastically changes with the class, we'll try to run that line we'll pick a predetermined spot and just try to go there.
Well, how does the track feel right now?
Well, it's kind of hard and soft. You really check your consistency, and then you just try to pick your overall best spot and go there.
Well, it looks like we're going to have to wait for the test pull to see how the track really turns out. We're going to be back to get the competition underway from the Omni, Atlanta, Georgia, in just a moment. And welcome back to Power Tracks. We're in Atlanta, Georgia. Army, the super modified two-wheel drive competitors here tonight. The engines, the power, they're similar to those you might find on a drag racing strip.
Well, a lot of people relate them to the Double B funny cars, and that's basically what they are. They're alcohol-burning supercharged engines generating around 1,500 horsepower apiece, Richard.
Now, Lyons McClain, the driver of Rowdy, he is out of DeMossville, Kentucky. He's going to be our official test puller tonight, and that's an important position to have in competition.
A lot of people are watching him. The measuring crew there on the end of the track getting everything squared away. The fans are here. The test pull, what it's all about. How do they set the sled? Now, this could be a keeper or a throwaway pull. Rowdy rolls out on the throttle. The weight looks to be a little nose heavy. You notice the weight going up on the weight transfer sled. The further down the track you go, the heavier it gets, and it'll pull him down at around a 178, Richard.
All right, 178.89 feet for Lyons McClain. He can accept that distance or take another. Let's go trackside, Army. He spoke with Lyons earlier about going indoors.
Lyons, exactly what do you do different on these shorter indoor tracks than you would do on an outdoor track?
Well, first, I would change the gear about 2 ratios lower than what I normally run on an outdoor track. And then things on an indoor track, the tracks are shorter, and you have to get your act together in a hurry.
Okay. And you say you get your act together in a hurry. The average indoor track is about, we'll say, 150 to 170 feet. You're used to pulling 300 feet. Where do you get your act together? Do you try to get the power on the starting line or on the finish line?
Well, you really have to get started. If you don't get the sled started on an indoor track, you won't go with it.
Well, Lyons McClain has decided to accept his test pull distance of 178.89 feet. Now, remember, Army, tonight, a full pull indoors is 180 feet, so a nice pull for Lyons McClain and Rowdy as we get ready for a real legendary name in the sport, and that is Wayne Roush. Wayne, of course, out of Dublin, Ohio. This is one of his 2 vehicles. This is the yellow Model T.
Wayne Roush finished second in national points chase this past summer. A real strong competitor. A moment ago, as he was backing to the sled, I was noticing in the background, all the drivers are watching the sled. We're indoors. Remember, shorter track. Where does the horsepower go down? Roush looks good. Trying to go on the other side of a 178. I don't believe he did it, Richard. I don't know.
176.78 feet for Wayne Roush. By the way, our congratulations to Wayne, Army. He was recently named the 1988 Redman TNT Puller of the Year, and that's quite an honor.
Well, you know, Richard, that award is voted upon by his competitors, so that's quite an honor for him.
All right, coming out next is going to be Art Hathaway. He is in the Honkin' Donkey machine out of Washington, Pennsylvania. I have to chuckle every time I try to say that on TV.
Gentleman's kind of interesting. He's stepping up in the sport. By stepping up, I mean he's moving over to a different class. Art is not new to the sport of pulling. He is new to the sport of two-wheel drive pulling. This is a brand new truck. Got brand new forward sheet metal, areas for horsepower, has one of the Humco chassis, so a chassis war is starting to develop in the sport now, similar to NASCAR. This sport, the chassis war between Engler and Humco. This is a Humco chassis. Let's see what he can do for the Ford fans trying to go on the other side of a 178, Richard.
Nice pull, but not long enough. 171.78 for Art Hathaway. Pretty good pull for this former mini rod puller. Let's go trackside. Army's got him right now.
Well, Art Hathaway, one of the new up-and-comers on the Redman Tour with us, the Honkin' Donkey out of Pennsylvania. You had this Humco chassis looking awfully strong out here tonight, Art.
Well, we did pretty good. We're still a little bit heavy on the front end there. We took another weight back, and I think we've done a lot better.
Now, you're one of the fellas that stepped up from the power rod division into the two-wheel drive. That's kind of like jumping from the frying pan into the fire, isn't it?
Yeah, the competition, I think, is a little bit stiffer in a two-wheel drive. There's a lot more guys are at it 100% full-time. You know, that's their living. Mini rod guys are all part-timers.
I'll tell you what, we appreciate you being with us in the Redman Tour. We'll see you later in the year.
Okay, thank you.
Well, back again comes Wayne Roush, this time in his little red truck. Army, why are we seeing him again so early in competition?
Richard, in this sport, the pulling order is determined by the luck of a draw. As luck would have it, he drew early in the field with both vehicles.
All right, the track holding up. He hopes he could have learned something in his first pull. In the yellow Model G, Wayne Roush's little red truck is going to bog down 159.78, so he does not surpass his first pull as we go trackside.
Well, you're working that left side to death out there, Wayne.
Maybe I need to go to the other side. Well, I thought the left side was the place to be, so you got to try what you think.
Got to live with the shot, huh?
Yep. And we still didn't get enough weight off the front. It just didn't want to lift. Just didn't want to pull like it should have.
Real good. Back to you, Richard.
All right, Army, we're watching the super modified two-wheel drive pullers here in the Omni Atlanta, Georgia. Back with more on Power Tracks in just a moment. Back in the Omni Atlanta, Georgia, super modified two-wheel drive competition on the Redman Tour tonight, Army. And this is a division where driver skill very important.
It really is, because they all make about the same amount of horsepower. The question is, when do you dial the horsepower into the track? Of course, the tires are a very, very important part of this, the clutches, the engine, and everything. And the young man out of Union Grove, Alabama, Richard Wisnick, a young up-and-comer on the tour, tries to strut his stuff in the Omni. Let's see what's going to happen. The weight looks good now. It lightens up on the nose. Union Grove, Alabama native, a good run, 170, but not exactly where he wanted to be, Richard.
Lyons McClain is going to keep the lead here in Atlanta, Georgia. The fans enjoying this Redman competition. And you were talking about driver skill. Tires also, though, very important for these drivers to work with.
Richard, a lot of people think that the cleat on the tire are the part that actually digs into the surface. The deeper the cleat, the better it is. That's really not the case, we found out.
Well, Army, I know earlier today you were out in the pit area and you put together this feature on tires on the Redman circuit.
In the two-wheel drive category, Richard, the tires are the most important part of this vehicle. All the horsepower transferred to the ground through two tires only, the rear tires. That's why the front end goes up. The rear tires are the key to a successful run. For an example, each driver has his own idea as to what works and what doesn't. They actually cut the tires with different angle cuts. Different thicknesses of the rubber are exposed. What you want to do is actually cut the tire down to about a half an inch of height. The tire is actually ground down. People throughout the country have their own idea of what works and what doesn't. They will actually grind a tire 2.5 inches of good rubber off a tire in order to let that tire float on the pulling vehicle. That's the way you get down the track. In this case, they cut it down to a ½ inch. It allows the engine to get the RPM up, get the wheel speed, to get the sled on the other end of the track. The design of each cut, each driver has their own preference to what works and what doesn't work. A lot of technology, a lot of engineering goes into the two rear tires in the super two-wheel drive category.
Well, Army, from watching that feature, that just goes to prove how really complex the sport of pulling has become.
Richard, it's amazing. Like we were talking a moment ago, we've got chassis builders building special frames. The tire people are getting involved in it. The engine manufacturers, whether it be Rodak, Aries, Chrysler, Chevrolet, all the big-name people in the motorsporting world are definitely involved in this sport.
We're watching Mark Miller, the mini brute out of Richmond, Virginia right now.
A class kid out of Virginia State. Mini brute, the name of the vehicle. Chevrolet all the way. 165, Richard.
And that's not going to be good enough to put him up in the top three. Lyons McClain, the driver of Rowdy, is going to maintain that lead. It's a tough track thus far. How tough? Let's find out.
Well, I got to tell you what, you guys seem to be looking all over that 30-foot wide track to find some bite out there tonight.
Yeah, everybody, it looks a little bit soft down here on this end on the finish line. I don't know, I didn't have too bad a run. It got up a little bit high one time. I probably should have had about another 100 pounds on front. Would have made it about right, I think.
On the starting line, were you satisfied with the right side of the track? Roush went all the way the other way. He was on the left side a moment ago. He said it wasn't a good bite on the starting line. You look like you had a good start.
Yeah, my truck hooked up good right off the starting line. I've got to be pretty satisfied with the run.
You know, Army, we're talking about tires, we're talking about horsepower and skill. Let's talk drivers a minute. This is one of the ultimate. Jim Lyons, a three-time TNT national champion. He is what's called the best of the best. He's driving stitches out of Louisville, Kentucky.
Jim Lyons teamed up with Alfred Turner and Milton Boyles about 3 years ago, and they have really been a powerhouse in the sport. Carrying the GMC banner, you look at it, a full pull, the first full pull of the evening, Richard.
The crowd in Atlanta on their feet, our first full pull of the night in the super modified two-wheel drive competition. And how appropriate that the sign flashes full pull for Jim Lyons, a three-time TNT national champion. He's got to be happy. Let's go to Army.
I know you do a lot of research and development for Reed Cams manufactured right here in the Atlanta area. Horsepower seemed to be all over you tonight. Looked great.
We had plenty of horsepower, but we was a little bit heavy. I didn't think I was going to get there till right to the end, and then it just went on with it. But yeah, it was a little bit heavy.
Is there anybody else in the rest of the field you think can make another full pull?
Stowe's capable of getting it out, and so's Lamont.
Well, we know if we get into a pull-off, you're going to have to be ready to go back, so we'll let you get back with the truck right now. Thank you, Jim.
Thanks very much.
Jim Lyons is assured himself of possibly being in a pull-off, if not maybe even winning the competition. Of course, as he said, still to come, though, Ken Lamont and Mike Stowe, they're two dandies. But right now it's time for the Redman TNT Question of the Week. The question of the week about the Redman TNT All-American Pulling Series comes from Patty Birchfield of Owensboro, Kentucky. And Patty wants to know if the fumes and noise at an indoor tractor pull present any problems for the fans. Well, Mrs. Birchfield, all the vehicles on the Redman TNT All-American Pulling Series circuit burn alcohol. That's clean and efficient, which means no pollution. As for the noise, yes, it's high at times, but only for a few seconds and never sustained. But then again, we all know if you want to come and watch a tractor pull, the best way to watch it is by covering your ears. And if you have a question about the Redman TNT All-American Pulling Series, you can send it to TNT Motorsports, 5515 Poplar Park Boulevard, Louisville, Kentucky, 40228. And if we use your question on a future broadcast, we'll send you a TNT Motorsports cap. And, you know, you're talking about noise. You'll see a lot of the little kids in the audience covering their ears. Even some of them bring their headphones with them to cover up, but they all enjoy watching this competition, Army. We're going to be back with more super modified two-wheel drive action in just a moment from the Omni. Back in Atlanta, Georgia, where Lyons, McClain, and Rowdy was the leader until just a few minutes ago, and Jim Lyons of Louisville made our first full pull of the night, and we're ready to go on with the competition. And here's a guy that is a real practical joker on the circuit, but boy, what a driver he is. Mike Stowe, Bad Dog. He is right here out of Warrenton, Georgia, right down the road from Atlanta, Army, and he is some kind of driver.
Richard, if you remember, just a moment ago, I asked Jim Lyons, is there anybody else who can take it out of here? And he said Stowe and Lamont. Here comes Stowe's shot for the Ford camp. Looks good. He loves the Georgia clay. Basically a hometown boy. Let's see if he can hit the right combination. Lightens up on him real bad. About half track. That's going to hurt him, Richard.
Well, he is our summer TNT points champion, but he's not going to win tonight. A little over 175 feet for Mike Stowe as we go trackside to find out what happened.
Mike, the engine sounds like it's making all the horsepower you needed, but about the 150-foot mark, it seemed to go away on you. What happened?
Had to hit the brake awful hard. Tried to counterbalance the truck. I saw the track pulling everybody, but I had to hit the left brake awful hard, and the load's pretty heavy, and it just pulled it down a little bit. Made it really lock in better, but the weight of the sled had caught me by that time.
So it wasn't a good night tonight in the Omni for Mike Stowe, but last night, Army, was a different story. because Mike Stowe was in a three-way pull-off in the competition, and we're going to look at some of the highlights from that pull-off right now.
Last night, Stowe, like we said, he's a Georgia boy, would love to take a win in his own home state. He did just that, but they didn't give it to him. He flat had to earn it.
And who was he up against? Well, one of the guys was a kid by the name of Mark Hare out of Springfield, Ohio. He's a driver of Jack Daniels. Now, you see there some of the safety features these drivers wear. That is really a regular fire suit that you might see on any type racer anywhere across America, right?
Really, that's a double-layer fire suit with a single-layer Nomex hood, a full-cover helmet. These are all new rules for '89 that the TNT participants will have to follow. Speaking of the action at hand, this was a run that wound up being a winning shot last night. The Ford came out great, hit the weight perfect, started setting sail. The ground speed was there. Look at the flag blowing in the breeze. What a run by the Ford.
And, of course, Mike Stowe, Bad Dog, his run last night. We're watching highlights from a pull-off last night here in the Omni where the crowd was just a capacity nature. And here comes Mark Hare. He made the pull-off also with full pull in the Jack Daniels machine. This is one of the up-and-coming vehicles on this super modified circuit.
Richard, for those that follow the sport, this truck used to go by the name of Spike. He's picked up a new sponsorship with the fine people out of Jack Daniels Distillery, trying to do a good job for him. Old number 7 goes to a pull-off powered by Chrysler.
Mark Hare shut it down after a pull of 160.43. Once again, this is a pull-off action from last night's events here in the Omni in Atlanta. And finally, in the threesome, we had the ultimate, Jim Lyons, a three-time national champion, and he was trying to win it all last night.
Well, what can you say about Jim Lyons? Every time you look up and get to the end of the event, Lyons has got that beautiful black GMC stuck around the top 2 or 3, or maybe even winning. Look at this run at a 166.
That was good enough for second place last night, but Mike Stowe, the winner, and Bad Dog rolls a reverse tonight as we come back to live action. Tonight, Jim Lyons has already made a full pull, whereas Mike Stowe is going to take it home. Here's another guy, though, that Lyons mentioned could beat him tonight. That is Ken Lamont in the Plano Toolbox Midnight Express. There you see Jim. He's fine-tuning his stitches machine just in case there is going to be a pull-off.
I believe that Jim Lyons in his heart feels this kid is going to make a full pull. He's working feverishly on his truck. Meanwhile, Lamont, a scant 150 feet away from him, getting ready to make his pull. The fans getting in it. They're telling him which way to go. The Plano Toolbox Midnight Express out of Crossville, Illinois, going after Jim Lyons right now, trying to put us in a pull-off. And look at the weight transfer. Beautiful.
And he has done it. Ken Lamont, the Plano Toolbox Midnight Express, our second full pull of the night. Let's go trackside with Army and Ken Lamont.
Well, Ken, we just received word it was a full pull. You are going to be in a pull-off with Jim Lyons. I know you're anxious to get over and get the vehicle ready. What are you going to be doing different in that pull-off?
Well, I'll probably drive it about like I did. I slowed it down on my driving style from last night some. Seemed to make a pretty good pull. I was pretty well pleased with it.
I'll tell you what, the people in Atlanta, Georgia got to be impressed with you and the Plano Toolbox Special. You guys are right in the middle of this thing. Good luck to you.
Thanks, Army. I really appreciate it.
Ken Lamont has made it to a pull-off with Jim Lyons. Kenny is a successful farmer. He's got a small trucking operation in Crossville, Illinois. And here's another guy pretty successful out here on the circuit. Last night, Army, he was in that threesome of a pull-off, talking about Mark Hare and the Jack Daniels machine.
You know, Mark Hare has been in the sport for quite a while, but he ran under the name of Spike. You were talking about Lamont a moment ago. He's landed a couple of major sponsors this year. Of course, Jack Daniels has come on board to support the old number 7 Hare combination. Hey, the big boys are getting in the sport. Look at this. The Dodge-powered vehicle, not the run that he wanted. A tough break, only a 168, Richard.
Well, last night, Mark Hare was in a pull-off. Tonight, all he's going to do is pull it up, put it on the trailer, go home. Meanwhile, those gentlemen, Ken Lamont and Jim Lyons, are wondering, are we going to be in the pull-off against each other, or will it be a threesome? Right around the commercial break, we've got one heck of a driver. A guy by the name of John Heilman will be coming on the track as we find out, will it be 3 in a pull-off? Back with more on Power Tracks in a moment. Warm up with TNT Motorsports in the wintertime. On the weekend of January 6th through the 8th, Chevy Trucks brings the Red Man TNT All-American Pulling Series to the Ocean Center, Daytona Beach, Florida. The Lee County Civic Center, Fort Myers, Florida. The Charleston Civic Center, Charleston, West Virginia. And the Centroplex in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. On the weekend of January 13th through the 15th, the truck and tractor pulling action can be found in the Roanoke Civic Center, Roanoke, Virginia, the Omni in Atlanta, Georgia, and Freeman Coliseum in San Antonio, Texas. The big trucks will race side by side this winter when the Renegade TNT Monster Truck Challenge visits the St. Paul Civic Center, St. Paul, Minnesota, January 6th through the 7th, and the Leon County Civic Center in Tallahassee, Florida, January 13th and 14th. TNT Motorsports is proud to bring the nation's best truck and tractor pulling and monster racing to your hometown. See you there. Welcome back to Power Track. We're in Atlanta, Georgia, super modified two-wheel drive competition. Army, here's our final competitor, John Heilman, Rockford, Ohio, in an 87 Thunderbird. He's got to get a full pull to join these two in a pull-off. Ken Lamont and Jim Lyons.
Lamont representing Chevrolet, Lyons representing GMC, the Ford camp, the beautiful Ford Thunderbird of Heilman starts his roll. Let's see if it's going to be a three-way pull-off. Everybody's watching it. Looks like he may have missed the weight, Richard. He did. No ground speed. He's not going to make it. We're only going to have two back for the pull-off.
John Heilman, 156-plus feet. That means he's through for the night, and we're going to bring out two vehicles. Jim Lyons, Stitches, three-time national champion, and Ken Lamont, the Plano Toolbox Midnight Express. First up, Jim Lyons, as they add weight to the sled. They always do that on a pull-off, don't they?
They bump the weight up on the sled. Lyons is already at the sled. He's ready to go. Lamont goes down. He's trying to get things squared away. The pressure's on. This is it. This is the last shot for Lyons. You win it now or you lose it now. Ground speed looks good. The black GMC making horsepower. Wheels up. Works the left side of the track. They'll set the distance of 176 now. The pressure all goes on Lamont.
And it's Ken Lamont in the Plano Toolbox Midnight Express. And you will probably never see a full pull in a pull-off, will you, Army?
No, I tell you, Richard, Ron Hickson has the sled figured out. After he's run about 12 of these vehicles through, he knows what weight it's going to take to stop them. The old sled operator, the old Sly Fox, he's going to get you.
All right, keep your eye on the distance of 176.09 feet. That's what Ken Lamont has got to beat. The ground speed looks good, Army.
Chevrolet going after GMC, trying to put it on the other side of a 176. Richard, the Midnight Express wins it, 177.33.
Ken Lamont has won it in the Omni, Atlanta, Georgia. I know he's going to be one happy son of a gun as we're going to go trackside. Army has got the winner right now.
Congratulations, Ken Lamont, on a super run.
Well, thanks, Army. I appreciate it. Since we picked up all these sponsors, it's just going great. The Plano truck's just been running super. I had a heck of a run that time. You don't beat Jim Lyons when he makes a good run without making a super run yourself. Jim is a super competitor.
We were standing down on the end of the track with Jim when you made the run, and he told me, he said, the kid can put me away. He said he's learning a whole lot, and he's coming after me in a hurry. When you won, you know, he knew that you'd beat him, but he kind of had a smile on his face. Could you be the new generation coming up in this sport?
Boy, I don't know. I tell you what, new generation's tough, but what most people don't know is one of the first motors that was ever in this truck, Jim Lyons built for me. So Jim and I are old friends. When you're out there on a track, it's competition all the way, but he's a good friend of mine, and he's a super competitor.
Well, congratulations. We look forward to working with you the rest of the winter.
I appreciate it, Army. Thank you.
Ken Lamont, a class kid, has won it tonight as we look at our top five. In fifth tonight, Mike Stowe. Fourth place went to Wayne Roush. Third, Lige McClain. Second to Jim Lyons as he loses it in a pull-off to Ken Lamont. On behalf of Army Armstrong, I'm Richard Leake saying we'll see you again on the tracks across America.